work with the safety and security. I work with the safety and security of the children. And many a times I'm really, really worried that what happens? What happens? Why is it that the child becomes depressed? Don't you think it's our responsibility, friends, that a child who's brought is our responsibility to the school or to the world, in the family or in the school? The child is not able to understand that the child is disturbed, may have certain situations, may be facing certain things. So what are the concerns? I wish my PPT starts working, because on the other PPT that I am, other place that I am, I have yet to be made co-host, otherwise I would have.
Ma'am, may I share?
Yes, that would be great. That would be great. Thank you. Thank you, Fatma. And again, I always say, why the grown-ups are not able to instill the right values in the children. Why? Everything is why. Somebody is talking. May I request everybody? This is iPhone. Mudassar sir, iPhone, somebody's mute all. Let's put it this way. Okay. So my concern is to all the grown-ups, all the responsible people. Why we the grown-ups are not able to instill the right values in the child? Why is it the child is growing up with such fragile ego, with such low self-esteem, with such less EQ? And where is the SQ? The whole world is talking about. We are from India, where SQ probably emerged from. And here the whole world is talking and we are ignoring, we are neglecting. And these weak individuals generally succumb to such things, you know, in school, outside school. And where are our child rearing practices going? In India, especially, what I have observed throughout my practice in school, so many people, sorry, child rearing practices vary from absolutely not concerned, laissez-faire, to authoritarian. Can't we have a middle way out? Can't we exercise that some small little thing, some small little independence being given to the child? I am really worried, believe me. And that is what I thought I should share with you all. So if at all, you can see, if at all, I have started talking about, this is, my first slide says, child suicide. And this is our concern, right? This is our concern. We all should be, it's a area which really needs check, to be checked out. I really feel we all should be very, very concerned. Do you agree with me? Do you all agree with me? I am visible, not the recording, but I am sure you will be doing a little bit. And if you can, yeah, it is, but it is not the PPT form. It is coming in a different form. Yeah, now it is. Great job. So my friends, I want to draw this attention towards this concern of ours. I really want each of you to think, decide what is your role as maybe experienced people that we all are, learners that you all are learning to be, and find out and check the school going children around you and find out what are the concerns. Like this is the latest that I could find. The Indian Express says top 5 states with the highest student suicide in 2021. 22 is yet not available, but you can see that Maharashtra goes highest, followed by Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Orissa. Why? If you see, why this is happening, then you'll actually see that there's something that is going wrong culturally, something really going wrong culturally. Yes, and we all must be very, very concerned about what we are doing. So, friends, again, I want to draw the attention. If we are concerned, if we are worried, then obviously we'll be able to do a lot of things, believe it or not. If we are not aware, if we are not alert, we may just leave things. We may just leave things at the way they are. And you will see, I was comparing the data from 13 to 21. The data has increased tremendously. This is the old data from 18. And if you see, we are talking about what are the reasons? Is it pressure of perfection? There are reasons for children. There are reasons for children not doing well. It could be academic, it could be behavior, it could be coming from dysfunctional families, it could be the parents fighting, it could be so many other things, and now single parenting and LGBTQ issues and all. I've listed out these things later also. But the concern again is the child starts feeling isolated, is feeling humiliated, embarrassed, shy, they don't want to share, and this actually come looking for, ma'am, how can we go to the terrace? How can we go to the terrace? And if you can see, that is what the signs of small child, signs of low emotional intelligence in children are, that they are aggressive, they are unhappy, they are not able to recognize their own feelings, they blame others, they become very uncomfortable, they are not able to make a small talk. And my friends, they show it in school. It may start it at home. It may be not only the school's rules, but it may be the school people bullying, or some teacher touching at the wrong places. It may be at home. It may be at home. Incest is on increase. We all know somebody, especially in family, touching the children at the wrong places. They don't know whom to tell, but they feel shy, they feel ashamed, they feel bad, they feel guilty, they feel like ending up their lives. And the latest data shows that the women, because they're probably little softer, the women, they attempt. Boys, that's okay. Fatma, that was going fine. Yeah, they attempt, and they are successful. Women or the girls, they try. And I'll tell you, very interesting, small little case that happened. This child was bullied by students in the class. She went to the washroom and took her hairpin. She had no other thing. She took her hairpin, broke it up, and then started scribbling, scratching. It was lucky that we all in school are very, very vigilant. We ran, we saw, we found, because for each, that I'll come later, but yet again, for each period, we have attendance register marked. And the child was missing since last period, and luckily it happened to be a counseling period, and I was there. I said, what happened? The child is not to be located since last period. Let me find out. And the washroom was just nearby. We found out she was trying to scratch. Lucky for us that it was a blunt hairpin. It didn't work much, but yet she had scratches here. The easiest way to do things. She had locked up herself in the washroom. And interestingly, if you'll see the infrastructural changes that we have made, the washrooms, they don't have the last 1 feet is, there's no door. The airport doors that are halfway, we can see through that if it is occupied or not. The school washroom doors have been changed. They have been made friendly to see whether the child is there or whether it's vacant or not, to see. So I just knocked at the door and called out the child, and she started crying. My friends, they were rude to me today. Just such a small little thing. Why? Because the child is not able to face the stress. We are talking of bigger things, depression. We are talking about alcoholic parents. We are talking about other things, but we are not talking about why the child is not being trained by the parents or the teachers or by the counselors or by anybody. I take the responsibility there. Why they are not able to develop a strong thing, at least should have the courage to come up and share it with the teacher. So next slide, if you'll see, I've listed out why this is happening. And it says, I just read through a little faster: depression, feeling hopeless and worthless, previous suicide attempt, washed or have done themselves, their physical illnesses, feeling detached and isolated from friends, peers, and family history of suicide, mental illness or depression, family violence, physical or sexual abuse, access to a weapon in the home. Now, that's very, very important that the parents should be told, and we have parenting workshops based on all these things. Access to knowing somebody, probably a role model now, hoping to being, again, as I said, LGBTQ issues, and somebody in prison or the child herself or himself has had a history of criminology. All these can be, I am not happy with myself, I want to end, there is no point living and everybody hates me, or they keep on talking about me and my family, I don't want to live. The heightened emotionality, the unfortunate behaviors, and that can lead to, we all have been talking about all these things, but interestingly, friends, they bring it to school and sometimes they share it with their best friends, and then what happens, the best friend becomes the confidant, and after a few days, and especially in adolescence, they don't know how to keep secrets, and when they fight over any petty thing, they say, I am going to tell you the whole world that this is what you all are doing, this is what your father does, this is what your mother does, and this is how things are happening. And the child gets bullied or feels afraid that I should be not be asked by my teachers or anybody, I should not be pointed out, right? I should not be pointed out, and suddenly they feel like doing something. Once decided, what do they show? How are we grown-ups? We should take it. And the simple signs and symptoms could be, they start thinking, writing, drawing, talking about death, about suicide, reading more about it. And nowadays, at the click of the button, internet can give you n number of things. Then again, if there is dependence on alcoholic or drugs, let me tell you, friends, we all know that college students, especially, I'm talking about school now, it's becoming lower in bigger cities like ours. Drugs like Benadryl, a normal cough thing, Iodex, they all know about these things. Pudin Hara used to have alcohol content. Now they have, of course, amended. But there can be painkillers. There can be, sprays which are abused in school also. If you know, whiteners, we have stopped the use of whiteners in school. We have encouraged them to cut and across. And then let us not forget about their academic behaviors. The child was doing very well and suddenly the grades have come down. Or the way the child used to dress up and now is not dressing up well. The clumsiness, it could be due to dyslexia also. You have to make a differential diagnosis there. But yet again, and they lose that purpose of life. They not able to think clearly. When you ask them to read, they're not able to read clearly. They're not able to do. So these are signs and symptoms. All teachers, parents, counselors, and the upcoming people who are working with these young minds, they should think about. I'm primarily talking about children from 10 to 14, 10 to 17, 18 years. 18th year is when they give CBSE class 12 exams. And believe me, many are people, they do that. They try attempting, or they try telling people before they attempt. Right? So you can see and understand. So increased withdrawal from family, friends, which is very commonly understood as adolescent behavior. But we must be very careful. We must be there to understand. Lack of interest in favorite activities. They've stopped planning it. Reckless, risk-taking behavior. And बड़ी common सी बात है, चल मैं करके दिखाता हूँ, चल तू करके दिखा. And I'll tell you, my own friend years back, very interestingly said, I just want to see what happens, our life after death. My next slide, we'll be talking about that also. They just inquisitive. They just inquisitive about what is going to happen, right? So first and the foremost thing that comes to my mind is change eating and sleeping patterns, grief, uncontrolled behavior, and God forbid, we have talked about case studies so many times. The case study will show if there has been any specific change in the family during last few weeks or months. We must check all these things. Case studies are important. And let me tell you, the next one is the checks that we can keep. They're small little things, the checks that we can keep, if that can be shown. Otherwise, of course, I can read from my own. Yes, I have my own. So threatening or talking about wanting to hurt or kill himself or herself. If any of you, be it your friend, I'll tell you, a child tells me that she's been abused at home and she wants to die. My chacha has been abusing me. I can't tell my parents, they are not going to believe me, and I don't want to live. The child was brought to me by her friend. I said, let me work on it. I called up the mother. Generally, a counselor doesn't call up a mother. So the via media is to the class teacher. So yes, Mudassar sir, definitely little later, because Fatma ma'am has to go. You keep on writing, and then once the presentation finishes, I'm just rushing through that, right? So what happened? This child, I told the class teacher that call the mother, because I would not come in the picture till the class teacher is involved. That is a pattern we follow at school. So mother was called and I said, look, your child wants to end the life. Are you ready to take this? Mother was very surprised. Yes, I've been noticing she's not been talking much these days and making faces, and all kind of twitching is happening. I'm not sure what is happening, ma'am. Can you help me? I said, yes, because I have come to know something which your child feels that you may not trust or you may not be able to handle. Are you ready to? She says, yes. Now that because I had to create that background. So I said, go ahead, Vinita Dua, it's time for you to tell. It took 10-15 minutes to create that rapport and all. Then I said this. She started, believe me, she broke down. Why? Because she said the same person had been giving wrong signals to me also. And I have not been able to tell my husband. But now that it is my daughter who's involved and she wants to end her life, I am going to take it over. So believe me, it helped. It helped. So again, we'll go to the checks. So they create suicide notes. They create all those kinds of things. And they have expressing odd kind of behaviors, right? And then they generally are talking about not being happy. They don't talk about their future. If you ask them, they say, no, we are not very happy. So it all is very important for us to keep a check. Not only us as counselors, class teachers, head of the school, even the small children who are their classmates, we take orientation programs for them also, so that they can also understand the signs and signals and they can bring the person to me. That is how this child was brought to me. So what is our role in school? My role specifically, so this is, do not ignore these warning signs. Don't take it lightly. Talk to them openly. Do not leave the teen alone. Remove the objects with the child. This is what I told the parent, right? Then seek help immediately, wherever is required. And then comes mental health services. Keep emergency notes everywhere. And if we talk about what school can do, school can create safe places, reduce stigma, promote help-seeking behaviors, train adults to recognize and respond to signs. Yes, that's so beautiful. And the other one is, thank you for that matter. Here is this, I actually posted in the group also. Of course, we have been talking about all these things, but I just would like to spend one more minute on what we do in the school. We train everybody, including class 4, right? And if the child has already attempted, and there are signs and signals, before they attempt suicide, they generally write letters, they generally try to run away, they generally try to hide, and as I've told you, they're not eating, they're already mentally disturbed, they're not eating, they're not sleeping well. And if you can believe, it's one spur of the moment they can do it. They can, attempt something and be very successful at it also. That's a possibility, my friends. So it's very important. And once they are saved and they are brought back to school, we have to provide an environment where they're not stigmatized. They're accepted by their peers. So taking now this slide, what do I do? The last thing is I generally, this is thank you, Fatma. I think you can just, I know you are in a hurry, aap kar sakte ho, and now I can talk. And Mudassar also wanted to ask. I have just finished my presentation in a hurry so that we all are there. I have my presentation in my phone, if at all. I'm so sorry it didn't play well today. But all said and done, my friends, it's very, very important for each of you to understand that our role as counselors in society, in school, wherever we are, is very important. Let me go take you back to the history. Everybody was very, very sure, okay, very sure that we don't have to deal with children like this. Let's say 10 to 15 years back, बच्चों को क्या फर्क पड़ता है? They are resilient. वो तो भूल जाते हैं, उन्हें कुछ नहीं होता. It was very common. It was very common. And in Indian situation, even today in rural areas, they just ignore children's signs and symptoms. They always feel, कुछ नहीं है, तो छोटे बच्चे हैं. And believe me, they do gory things in presence of the children. We all know that they are living in one-room hutments. And they can do anything, right from creating their own family or doing anything to anybody, violent or sexual. Either things. And they think the child is sleeping, the child would never come to understand what is happening. Believe me, friends, and sorry for being so bluntly saying, sometimes parental lovemaking is taken as father being aggressive towards mother and vice versa. By the child, it's child's perception. And they grow up with that idea. And it becomes very difficult for anybody to understand and face these things. The presentation, of course, it will be shared with you, where I have given a little NGO names and numbers also. And of course, you know that EmoCare is doing a wonderful job. And in fact, we should create. I've been of that person. I've been of that thought that we at EmoCare should create a helpline. My dream I would like to share before I take questions and all. My dream was always to have a 24 hours distress helpline. Believe me, friends, in Delhi, we have started working with one NGO, and they have started a small 24 hours NGO, helpline, where anybody, why only suicide? Anybody who's upset can come and share their feeling of distress rather than going and hanging themselves with a fan or with a tree. I have been successful in creating, and I am sure together can create one more helpline with EmoCare, where we all can take turns and we can have counselors throughout 24 hours, throughout night or day. It's very important, friends, because I've worked with CBSC also. I've been CBSC also, where 24 hours, and I used to take night calls. And believe me, we were supposed to write down the issues and during those CBSC days. So I have attended at least 57 was the highest in one night. One call, 57 calls in one night. And all kinds of people, all kinds of queries. And though it started with CBSE, it carried on to whatever we are talking right now. अगर मेरा नीट में नहीं हुआ तो क्या होगा, अगर मेरे को आईआईटी नहीं मिला तो क्या हो गया. हम क्यों कर रहे हैं as parents, as grown ups? Why is, I understand having a good career is important, but is it only NEET? Is it only IIM? Is it only IITs? Is it only AIMS? I really fail to understand. So in my school there, I want to point out, I'll tell you a little structure about my school. It's a girls' school. We have one counselor, we have one psychology teacher who helps me in counseling, right? We start our practice, talking to children from 4th onwards. Before 4th, it's parenting counseling at least 3 times a year, where we take different issues. Then from 4th and 5th, I generally take the children to the auditorium and address about all those small little good, bad, touch, all those mundane things like you're going to be grown-ups and you're going to have your chums and all, your periods and all, and why this is important. Then followed by 6th, 7th, I start talking about what do you want to be? So that the pressure of, I want to be a doctor. Believe me, laterally, if I am talking about the longitudinal studies that I have done in my school, class 2, 90% wanted to be doctors. Class 7, 40%. And class 9th, only 10 to 20%. And class 11th, sabne leke science chhod dete hain. We know that. It's happening in Delhi, right? I don't know how many of you have been science students, but I have witnessed. My PhD was on schizophrenia. And believe me, there 3 students I have dealt, 2 boys and a girl, where they took up science and they had breakdowns because they could not qualify. And ultimately they were given ECTs. ECTs nowadays is little stopped, but then I'm talking about what, 80s, somewhere late 80s, when I was doing a PhD and my MA's dissertation. I've seen that. I've been to then called Shadra Mental Hospital and now IBHAS. I've seen how students would come there. And that is what motivated me to work with students, and that motivated me to work with adolescents. And besides my own career, I picked up a diploma in career counseling as well. So that the careers which are not accepted by the parents can lead to what we are talking about today. I don't even want to speak that gory word. It sounds too much to me. I was very, very conscious when I was making my presentation. It's so difficult. And coming from a woman and coming from a school counselor and coming who's dealing with children day in and day out, that is only the last step. We should not forget सीढ़ी चढ़ के पहुंचे जहां से छलांग मारी. उन सीढ़ियों को नहीं भूल सकते, सीढ़ियां नहीं छोड़ सकते. वो सीढ़ियां इंपॉर्टेंट है. उस सीढ़ी पे चढ़ने ही नहीं देना. हम स्ट्रॉन्ग वाली सीढ़ी क्यों ना दें बच्चे को? हम क्यों ना बोलें EQ should be, you are all beautiful. Why can't a child be brought up with that? कि वो बड़े होके भी, I wish I could tell you my own story some other day maybe. What I have not gone through in my life financially, whatever. But then you have to survive. And I actually say my father has given me that strong support. Given us all those good values, where we know suicide is not a good value. Where we all know that ending my own life means I am doing crime to myself and to my family. So that is the school I want to bring about. That is the change I want to bring about in all children. So that बड़े होकर सोचे ही नहीं, कभी उनके दिमाग में आए ही ना ये बात, बल्कि कहे हम हिम्मत करेंगे, हम होंगे कामयाब, हम जरूर करके दिखाएंगे. I want to instill that kind of spirit in my children. I hope you all are with me and you agree with me. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. That's great. Thank you, Mansoor sir. Thank you. It's wonderful. Let me go through the chat box. I have not even seen. In the meanwhile, yes, this is all I have to say. Yeah. Yes, we all are going to tell sir We all are going to tell sir that we should create this helpline and we should be available. We'll take turns. Yeah, right? Even if it's a huge group and even if it is, let's say, 3 hours a day, maybe and that too once a week or once a month, it depends on who all are going to do that. Right? And I think great Rifat. I've been listening to Rifat and Mudassar and everybody who have all been very active, and I've been a spectator to all of you. I really like the spirit. I really like the spirit. And believe me, I'm just about to retire and I want to give my 100% and 100% time to all these things. So I think I wish you luck and stop it here. And now we can start on with our questions and answers. Anything you want to know, I'm available. Raise your hand and yes. Mudassar, shall I unmute you or you will be able to do it yourself?
Yes, I can do it from my
side. Yeah,
so
I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, so thank you very much for the amazing presentation, and you have picked up in some wonderful areas where generally many tend to overlook or they just turn blind eye over there here. So if you ask me, I know Joe, my family's expectation was me to become a doctor or engineer, and then as you progress in your life, you would say, and then we end up switching to commerce, and then one day I happened to change my career pathway towards the field of education and psychology. So with that, I'm still here, done my master's, and I'm still under progress to become a qualified psychologist. Okay, so let me go on with the question first. Okay, so how to know, okay, from your perspective, how can we know that if a person is actually bluffing or really trying to commit a suicide? Because there are people who just try to use it.
Very beautiful. Mudassar, you're like my son. Right? My son is 29 now, so you can understand my age also. So Mudassar, mujhe ek baat batao bacha mere. Does it make a difference if the child is, you're from psychology background also, if bluffing also? Why? It shows very clear thing. I am crying. I need attention. You agree with me? So even if it will start with, it may. Chalo hum sochte hain. Let's hypothetically begin with that it is a bluff, right? Suppose it's a bluff. So what? Can't we attend to that person? Should we not be attending to that person? And very interestingly, over the time period, if you will know the child is or the age, it depends. Again, age, case study, as I told you, you'll check the case study. I hope everybody will agree with me, the case study, and you'll be able to make out because your experience and the child's experience. Here again, age matters a lot. Age of your client matters a lot. Bluff kitni der kar payenge? Bluff kitni der kar payenge? And believe me, if you, I have seen, they'll start trembling, they'll start crying, they'll give in very fast. कि मेरा मन करता है कि मैं मर जाऊं, मेरा मन करता है मैं जीऊं नहीं. They cannot stop there. The somatic symptoms are also there. You agree with me? And yes, if you, and probably even if it is bluff, it is not going to last for long. The moment you start empathizing, they'll give in. Right? But yes, अब मैं एक बड़ी मजेदार बात बता देती हूँ. This is for everybody's benefit. Mudassar Azim, how do you say? Azam. Mudassar Azam sitting, handsome, good new counselor sitting in +2 school. All girls, class 12, come over for one reason or another. In the beginning, you are going to know who's coming, with what intention. I'll tell you, believe me, friends, this happens in school. They start falling for the young counselors, boys for the girls and girls for the boys, right? So here you have to say, my rules follow, and very easy things, friends, very easy. You can always have a small checklist. When the child comes, you can give, because you have to keep records also. You can always create a self-record. Here on this platform, I would suggest everybody, Emocare, we should have our own records also, record formats, which I've been crying and shouting on the top of the world to everybody, including CBSE. We should have standardized, proper record sheets. When you'll take the case record, when you'll see the symptoms, and then you'll say, okay, and very simple. On the first day, create a rapport, ask them to fill up the form, tell them to deep breathe, give them little water and say, thank you. Your time is over. You'll come after 3 days. If the child comes back, the child means dismiss. If doesn't, you can always read between the line. It could be a Freudian slip. You can give 2 to 3 chances to each. You'll come to wake out. Do you agree with me, Mudassir?
Yes, ma'am, I do agree.
So that is very important, because let me tell you, if some child is playing a prank rather than bluff, they will not be able to give in their right checklist. They will not be able to fill. They'll be afraid, sir, because you're the sir now. Be a doctor, your own counseling center, or you are a teacher, teaching psychology. You're a counselor, whatever capacity you may be working in. You agree? If I have to give in my written details, including my parents' number or something, they'll ask you a few questions. They'll counter question you. There are ways and means to find out. Experience will help, of course. But we can always have small little things. Checklist kyun koi bharega? Arey, I had come to see this handsome hunk and now he's asking me to fill up this. Fasungi main to bhag jati hu. Nahi sir, kal karenge, agli baar karenge. You know that. But if somebody who's desperate, who's not happy, you can make out. You agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Gee, anything else?
Okay, yes. So you did answer my other questions with the following, which is I'm satisfied. I got one more question. Let's say from my experience, I'm based in Hyderabad, but I moved to the Gulf region. So my previous experience is, when you come to know there is a child who's actually facing his level of the suicidal ideation went beyond his threshold. So in that case, what I found out over there, let's say those stakeholders like parents, schools, school authorities, and the wider society are not very cooperative. Like they would say, "Arey Mia, hame is cheez ka hame koi hissedar nahi banna hai. Aapko jo karna hai karo, but don't bring it to us." So in that case, what can we do?
Look, when we talk of stakeholders, let's say the child himself, you're the counselor or the teacher coordinator, then comes the school, and the parents. So we have to see who's responding in what manner. Let me tell you, in India also, we have to, whether we like it or not, sometimes we have to confide in our management people, principal, coordinators, and we have to tell that this child has this. And secondly, my friend, if we are going to carry on with therapy, we should have a contract signed. And secondly, if not this, as I said, you can have 3-page case study and all, where you say, kuch nahi karna. Met the parent, discuss the matter. This was their response. Please sign. Make them sign that. At least you will be writing, very simple example I can tell you. You will be writing, your child has shown this, I want you to be careful. And they sign on it. They cannot deny because they are the parents, right? Even if they, so you can always put it in brackets, denied to sign, because if it is, let's say, a very bad example, though it may sound, but then if I am the stepmother and I have been bullying the child, and I am driving the child, and I am the guardian in the school also, and I may not sign. But in the case study you have written, the mother came, and of course we have the cameras these days and the recordings these days, the camera recording, maybe not the sound recording, that the person had come to meet you, right? So there are ways and means, and of course you always say that I have informed the next person. That is the simplest thing. Secondly, if they say, no, we are not ready to, then immediate action would be informing the management people or your coordinator and say, then again, as sir very rightly says, Transfer the patient. Don't hold on. Don't be possessive. Transfer to the medical team that I'll not be able to take this responsibility alone. Right? So there are small little things that we can do, ways and means, so that, let me tell you, my friends, we all are working. First is to protect ourselves legally. First is to protect ourselves and then protect the child or the person in question. And we will have to see that we have everything in order. Because here we are not talking about behavioral problem as bedwetting or anything. Here it is talking about taking my life. That's not easy. Right? And if possible, my friends, if possible, ask your child or your student or anybody to give all those small slips, etc., where the child has been writing to you. You can click photographs, or you can always have, and you can have those printouts and clip it with the case study. It helps. Let me tell you, very interestingly, suppose I take on the responsibility and God forbid, even after my trying, the child does something harmful to her, is alive, but in hospital, and says, yes, when in weak moment says, I had shared it with my counselor at school. The counselor is immediately picked up. So the counselor, especially in such cases, the news, not like rumor, not like gossip, but can be transferred to the people who are taking charge of that place. It's very important to involve those people. And sometimes it may be all of a sudden, as we say, it's the spur of the moment that suicide may occur. So we have to be a little more careful. That is why I say that the standardized case study format and everything for everybody, so that we can do research also. That is again a very important field that is being ignored and missed out. But we can really help that. We can really be helped there, because you have already written all about these things. Our idea is to save the child, but save ourselves as well.
Marvelous.
Do you agree with me? Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
Gee, anything else? So Gulf, of
Well-
course, has its own issues, I know, but you have to protect yourself, and you have to read what their laws say in between the lines. And if required, and if you have some legal person to support you, or some legal person who's supporting the place where you're working, or the legal person where your school is, you should take a small little session with that person also, that how to go about it. Make yourself well versed.
Okay, ma'am, I got more question, but I'll stop right now. So is there like any other way we
I'll
could reach
take
out to
Mansoor's.
you?
I'll take Mudassar. Mansoor has
Not
raised
now,
his
not
hand
now.
for. No, listen to me. I'll come back to you. I am in no hurry. I would love to teach. You can see that. Once there are other people, once I answer, I'll come back to you. So maybe you'll get your answers if I'm talking to Ramya. Today,
Sure.
your mic is open, my child. Yes, Mansoor sir.
So sorry, ma'am. I didn't notice it. I just noticed just now. I'm really
that's
sorry.
okay. There's no worries.
First of all, may God bless you, ma'am. I was reading your
Thank you.
face.
That's really
I
required.
was seeing your face language. You are into it, with all your heart, your mind, and soul. I just have one question, ma'am, because we belong to India and especially Asia. It is still a taboo. Parents are reluctant, hesitant. Even the family, somehow we haven't had the courage to talk to our children, and we see them. The growth is coming up, and we fail to talk to them, and it's a stigma, it's a taboo. We fail to do it. So what kind of questions like you have been putting forth to the parents all this beautiful years of experience that you have? So can you share such beautiful questions that you ask your parents, or you guide them, coach them directly, indirectly? Some of it, if you can
The
share.
way I'll tell you, Mansoor sir, I deal parents 2 to 3 ways. One, we have presentations for the parents. At least 2 to 3 parenting workshops throughout the year for each section. Our school is divided into different sections, and we generally have these. One. Second, of course, is PTM, where parents can come and approach me, right, on their own accord. Third, where the teachers, they feel there is something, we call it referral form. After the first term gets over, teachers fill up because of the behavior or academic, the child needs some attention. So that is, again, I call the parent also. Then comes, if there is some mischief that has been done, some bullying, something, then we call the parents. So there are ways and means, and how I question depends on where I am and what is the job given to me at hand. Of course, I have to be very, very, thank you. So, of course, I am very conscious when I should not step on anybody's ego. But that is why rapport formation is very important. Then secondly, friends, I, being the school counselor, never contact the parents because they will get worried. In India, we can understand, Mansoor, कि अरे काउंसलर ने फोन किया है. It's a big, huge thing. हम क्या करते हैं? I have a way. I have been exercising since last good 28 years that I've been working with school. I tell the class teacher to get in touch with the parent and tell there's certain concerns related to your child and we would like to meet. And then when the parent comes, the teacher tells about this thing and then tells, would you be interested in talking to the school counselor? But if the child is already the problem child, or if the child has dyslexia, or if the child is children with special need, then we have case also in the afternoons when we stay back. All the subject teachers, they write for few sentences. The parent is called. Parent is told one by one that this is our observation about your child in particular subject, behavioral or academic. And then we ask the parent also about how the child has been behaving at home. And interestingly, friends, nowadays, since last pandemic and all, we have started asking them for, suppose the child is not listening to the parent and the child is very small, is aggressive, we tell parents to send 30 seconds video recording. 2 to 3 different situations, 2 to 3 different days. It helps us. Before we call the parent, we generally have a brainstorming session amongst our teachers and all. Then we call the parent and then we decide and then we discuss. We always say, never compare the child. But suppose the child is very small and is hyperactive, yet not diagnosed. ADHD. So what I generally do, or dyslexia in class 4-5, I generally take anybody's random notebook and show it to the parent that this is a comparison. This is the level that is done, achieved by anybody. And again, this is what your child is doing. So you can see that the child is not. Or if the parent has another child, then I always say, compare your elder child with the younger one, and vice versa. So it helps. So these are the kind of questions I keep on framing and talking to the parents about.
Yeah, that's a beautiful structure, ma'am. Thanks for sharing. And just another quick one, because as I understand, you said that there is something about the legality, so we have to save ourselves,
Yes,
so,
yes.
But still, we are not like Europe and America. But still, ma'am, given a situation, is there something like a good Samaritan law in India that I might help somebody, but the law won't question me? Is there any situation as of now? Like you said, it should be on paper and things should be like black and white.
When we talk of school situation is very formal. When we talk of our own practices.
So how about the generic scenario, ma'am? Forget the school for a while.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So school may provide you the safety, security norms are there. But when we talk of the generic situation, as you're saying, or, somebody. So what I generally do is, I generally see, and as sir says, transfer the patient immediately if I'm not able to handle. Let me tell you, I'm sharing here on this platform. In India, it's not easy. I am a trained counselor who deals with who used to deal, I'll say, with the sexual problems also. Where the people got married and they are not able to consummate their marriages and all those things happen, So I am a trained person there also, but in India, it became very difficult, especially to deal with males. I stopped. With females, I'm still working. I'm working with LGBTQ also, no worries. But for males, I restricted myself. I started with it. I got a very good response, friends. But then I know my own situation. I know it may get into a difficult mess. I stopped. Yes, with women, I'm doing. Couple therapy, I do, but only in the presence of the wife, where these things can be openly discussed. Otherwise, I withdraw and I say, I'll transfer the case, or I generally say, I withdraw. I'll not be able to help you in this aspect, sir. I'm sorry. I would suggest you to go to a psychiatrist or maybe a male psychologist. So anybody who's like, would love to partner with me, I would rather send the case. I have no problem. Only thing is, I should have that kind of confidence. That is why I don't refer people. I just say, you may. But only thing, why? Because I should have that kind of confidence with the person I'm working. So be very sure. You know, if you are a male and there are women who are coming to you and they are talking about anything which you are not able to deal, which you are not able to handle, and they can threaten you, be very careful. Be very careful, because in India, as you rightly said, nobody to protect us. Anyways, that the flip side is nobody's to ask us as well. Simple. But yet again, we all have to be careful. We all should be, because we are the people who have to carry the society forward. We can't be primitive, but we cannot take risks at the face value. We have to save our faces. We have to save our reputations. So be very careful. In the meanwhile, when we are talking about the generic situation, again, I have come to meet Mr. Mansoor Ali. वो तो आराम से लिखा सकते हो on a plain sheet of paper. You can always have. I have come to meet on my own accord. I take the responsibility. That kind of an undertaking can be taken. That is no problem. And especially, friends, especially because this is a serious issue, be it sexual, be it suicidal, be it something very. So what you have to say, I have come to do that under the circumstances. I understand that it will be my responsibility. And especially if they're coming alone. It's very common in India. I think everybody will agree. It's very common in India that people will come, apne aap se aaye. They will talk at length, and when they are going, they can be very jittery. And you ask them, who's going to stand up for you? Jhoota naam, jhoota address, jhoota. We are not going to see the iCards, friends. And these days, I've actually started telling everybody, please carry your Aadhaar card. I'll also show you mine. If you are interested in seeing my RCI number, I'm interested in seeing your Aadhaar card. Don't you think it's a good deal? So very simply do that. Be careful. Mera first and the foremost is, especially under circumstances, be helpful, but be careful. And there should be somebody. Suppose in the case of suicidal tendencies we are talking about, there should be somebody whom you come with. Na? Suppose there's a girl, 25 years old. She's already very unhappy. She's already had a breakup and she's already tried doing something, and still she wants to come for therapy, and she kind of chose you because you resemble father, you resemble all those Freudian terms. You resemble maybe boyfriend's father or somebody, and feels that you're very fatherly a figure. But then starts, and you never know. You never, could be psychopath, could be sociopath, could be MDP, could be schizophrenia. You really don't know on the first meeting itself. And these days, I always say, if not recording, then at least video record of the camera, where you can show that I'm sitting at a safe distance and all. If done, then it's comfortable and safe. Why not?
Thank you, ma'am. So lovely. Lovely. Thank you. God bless.
God bless you all. Yeah. Ji, Neelam ma'am. I can see your raised hand. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. I am also working as a school counselor, though that is social work. After my retirement from teaching, I started this. And you can well understand, after 29 years of teaching, you are quite experienced in counseling. So started school counseling, started my group, and we have started doing that. So I was interested in learning more and more. That's why attending these MOK classes. Otherwise, also for the last 2 and 3 years, we can say, of Corona time, I have been attending psychology classes regularly, including counseling classes and all that to learn more so that I can become an experienced person. So many times I just, it is not that self-praise, that God's given gift, I say it is God-given gift, that when I see people's faces, girls, children's faces, I make out that this girl is in some problem. As you were telling me that you just address the class, address students in a group in the same way I do. And from sometimes from the faces, I can say that so and so, please come out and see me. After the class, you please see me. So all these behaviors also I can read. And then I just said, most of the time, thank God, I am, we can say 99% cases I am right that the child has some problem. So we try to solve, and that is why I have.
That's great. That's great. You're great job. Great job.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Let me go through the chat.
Can
That's
I
a
talk to you
beautiful.
sometime?
Thank you.
Otherwise, can I?
Sorry.
Ma'am, can I talk to you sometime if I wish to?
Anytime. Only thing I am little busy. I was little busy with the school and other things. Evenings I am available, except for Mondays.
May I get your phone number?
Yes, somebody else had also asked. Please, I have already given. You can always check 93
93
12
12
931 772
772
405.
40. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks
Always
a lot.
welcome.
Thanks a lot.
Areva, Rifat already knew, is it? So nice.
Ma'am, something. Before you start, somebody has asked you audio. So
Echo is there.
there.
Why this echo? Yes,
Yes.
am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Now
Neela,
it's
ma'am, if
better.
you're done with your conversation, can you please switch, mute yourself, ma'am, because it's a resound also there.
Acha, okay. Last,
think
anybody
Rifat
wants to
have-
ask any question? Otherwise, we
I
can.
think
It's
Rifat have
already
question.
okay. Go ahead.
Ma'am, first of all, I would like to thank you because the way you present all the details and everything, that was really very beautiful. The way you speak is very beautiful. Thank you so much for that. And I want to ask one thing. The Mudassir firstly asked something if a child is bluffing or faking about suicidal ideation and all. Ma'am, I want to say that if a child or even an adult is faking about having suicidal ideation or thoughts, that it's in itself means that the child or the adult is having some psychological issues. That's why he or she is faking. He or she maybe want attention from people. Maybe she
Exactly.
is
That's what I said. Exactly. You're on the right track.
yeah. So I was just wanted to make it clear from you. Is that there? Am I right? Am I on the right track of thought? That it can be something like a person is empty inside, a person is alone, he or she
Just
is.
asking for attention. Just asking for attention.
Yes.
Want to be
some-
heard. Want to be. I mean, just listening. I mean, just waiting for somebody's attention. And why not, my friends? Why not? We should actually take good care of that part, right?
Right, ma'am. Because I have seen some people in my personal life also, in my college and in university also. I have seen some people always crave for attention. And when I go deeper into their life to see what is actually the reason, and I came to know that they are alone, they have no friends, they are having family conflicts, they have nobody in their families who can listen to them. So sometimes if someone is trying to grab attention, it must be like we should give them attention. It's not like no, they are seeking attention and just
No,
ignore.
I would just take 1 minute here.
Yeah.
You must give attention to people who need, but then don't make them dependent on you, my friends. We have to make them, we have to actually make, as I was talking about EQ, we should actually make them stronger.
Yeah.
Don't feed anybody's ego unnecessary. There's a difference between narcissism and asking for attention. You agree, I hope?
Right. Right.
So, yeah, so with this, I think we can end up today's meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Love you all.
Love you, ma'am. God bless
Thank
you.
you, ma'am. Thank
It's
you, ma'am.
wonderful to have such an audience. I'm so happy. God
Pleasure.
bless you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Love you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Love you, ma'am. Love you.
Love
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am. We are lucky to have you among us.
Thank you, ma'am.
God bless you all.
Dear team, we all can leave by our own self. Thank you everyone for being part of this wonderful program of empowering yourself and allowing them and others also to be strong. Thank you on behalf of MOK and on behalf of every participant. All great thanks to all the faculties or the guests who have come to make these sessions more wonderful and lively and having their experiences stand for us. Thank you, one and all. Dear participants, kindly leave the session. I think Fatma has got stuck somewhere. She couldn't stop the recording. If you can leave the session, we can automatically stop the recording by then. Thank you. Mr. Rahul, Mr. Preet Singh, Pratima, and Dr. Gokulan, kindly leave the meeting.
Team, you people please left. Then automatically the meeting will end.
I thought there is an official format to close it so that it's easy for you to record. That's okay. I just said thank to everybody. Thank you, everyone.